Hi. Instead of exposing the evil of Islam, the subjugation of women, the forcing non-Muslims to pay a high tax, makes it maybe Quran 9, 1 through 5, and Quran 9, 29, or how Islam, the Quran threatens Muslims with a painful doom if they don't be killed in the cause of Allah, maybe Quran 9, 111, 38, and 39. Or how there's Quran 4:34 that allows Muslim men to beat women, and it doesn't say lightly. And in that scripture, it doesn't even say to use a toothpick or a toothbrush. And since there's Quran 65:4, which allows a Muslim to divorce a girl who hasn't had a period yet. Well, so I've noticed no one really seems to care about that. No one seems to care that Muhammad married a 6-year-old and parked her when she was 9. No one seems to care that Muhammad allowed for slavery with Quran 4:24 and 178. Quran 2 for no one seems to care with that it says in Quran 2:49 forbidden to are married women except those whom your right hand can possess, your slave. No one seems to care about Quran 2, 178 that says the slave for the slave. If someone kills your slave, you can kill their slave. No one seems to care about Quran 3:28, which basically is not a threat to Muslims by non-Muslims. It's Allah threatening Muslims if a Muslim truly takes me as his friend or helper. In other words, he's not cut off from Allah. He's not attacked by Allah if he only acts like he's my friend. But you know something? No one cares about the taqiyya and the allowance to lie in Islam. I think Muslims do care, though, is the rationality. They don't care about the evil allowance that Allah allows on non-Muslims, because there's Quran 98:6, which tells tells Muslims that non-Muslims are the worst of creation, the worst of creatures who are supposed to be in hell forever. So, instead, what I think we should do is focus on what the Quran blew it on when it comes to science, and what the Hadith blew it on, which it would be like. Say Quran 36:40 through 43, which infers that the sun and moon travel in boats similar to that of Noah, which according to Al-Tabari Hadith, Muhammad says is not a boat but actually a chariot that the sun and moon travel in. We could also talk about how Muhammad thought that, or the Quran preached how mountains were not pushed up but placed down by Allah as pegs to stabilize the earth, to keep down earthquakes, which you find out in Al-Tabari Hadith, Muhammad believed was due to the earth being spread out on the back of a giant fish called Nun. And that when the Quran says that the sun cannot catch up to the moon, that's a lie, because Muhammad didn't know how a solar eclipse occurs. Instead, he thought a solar eclipse occurred by the sun falling out of its chariot. That's into a sea of water that was held over. He believed was held over our heads by the power of Allah, that not a drop should fall, and that the earth, again, spread out on the back of a giant fish called Nun. I mean, really, if we can point these things out, I think it'd be far better than talking about how the Quran 65:4 allows a Muslim to divorce a girl who hasn't had a period yet. Or how Muhammad parked a 9-year-old, or how Muhammad put fire on this Jewish guy's chest and burned him to near death to find out where he was hiding his money, or how Muhammad pulled an old lady apart named Kurfa because she didn't like how he slaughtered her town, or how in Sunan Abu Dawud 2:20-50 Muhammad got an exaltation from Allah that his companions could have sex with the married women they captured in the presence of their husbands or unbelievers, according to Sunan Abu Dawud 2:50. I mean, really, Muslims don't care about that because in their eyes we're evil thanks to Quran 98:6. which again says we are the worst of creatures. So instead, I think we should focus on how the Quran blew it with science, you know? How Muhammad believed that if the woman discharged sperm first during sex, it would be a girl, you know? And if you discharge sperm during sex, it'd be a boy, you know? Things like that. Or how the bones of a fetus form first, or how sperm doesn't come from the testicles, but from between the ribs and backbone, where your heart is, you know? Things like that. You know? Let them know about Quran 1094, which tells Muslims to come to those who've been reading the before scriptures, even which is the Bible. And all Muslims I know believe only the Quran is not corrupted, you know? Yeah. So let them know things like that, of how the Quran confirms the before scriptures, the Bible, even though all Muslims believe the Bible is corrupted. If we can let them know things like that, I think it would create more doubt in a Muslim than letting them know about the evil that allows a Muslim to do to non-Muslims. But